And in other news, the petrified skull of Leonard Bernstein has been found in the dumpster of an East Coast Bed Bath & Beyond. Herb Croissant, who found it, rubbed it 14 times for good luck and accidentally summoned the demon Ernest from the basement. Ernest plans to wreak bloody havoc all over the place with his collection of cuddly toy American presidents and his hamster, Tony. The whole thing is being filmed as a reality apocalypse TV show called What to Pay, hosted by 7 guys all called Tad, with all over tans and Subarus. Before the end of the world, NBC will be broadcasting a telethon to save puppies, hosted by the cast of Glee and disgraced movie actor Jeffrey Jones. CBS has the Weren't Carson variety moment, featuring a 70-strong, ethnically diverse drumline playing the works of Paul Simon on tiny, tiny snares. And ABC will be screening reruns of MASH. Meanwhile, here on the internet, there's the After Movie Diner. Okay, hello and welcome to
Welcome to the Skylight Diner.
Welcome to the Skylight Diner here in New York City on 34th Street and 9th Avenue. I am sat here for yet another... okay, let's start again.
Why? I thought that was good.
No, it's not. It's awful.
Why?
Hello and welcome to yet another After Movie Diner. And here we are sat in the warm black and blue booth. No, just black, really. Speckly black, one might say, of the booths of the Starlight. This is not going well, is it?
I think they need to know what colour the seats are.
What has happened?
Tell them what colour the seats are.
Hello, welcome to yet another After Movie Diner. And I'm sat opposite.
Welcome back.
I'm sat opposite Jim again.
Again.
And we're in the Skylight Diner on 34th Street and 9th Avenue.
I quite like the original musical intro.
What was that?
Welcome to the Skylight Diner.
Oh yeah. With a selection of pastries.
Hey, that's my
So yes, anyway.
Get to the point.
What have we just been to see, Dr. Wallace?
We went and saw The Last Witch Hunter.
The Last Witch Hunter, starring
Vin
Diesel.
Can I declare...
And Michael Caine.
Can I declare
yes.
a bit of a bias on this one? I'm extremely fond of unbelievably daft science fiction and fantasy films.
Right.
And if they star Vin Diesel, I like them even more.
Yeah.
Like Babylon with Vin Diesel, the one where he has to traipse across post-apocalyptic future Europe.
Right.
Directed by the mad French guy,
right?
Which was a huge bomb, and I thought it was quite good, even though it was utterly balmy.
Right.
And Mark Strong, curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal. Mark Strong turned up. So you go, oh, Mark Strong, so he'll be betraying you at some point, presumably.
Yeah.
And so he did, because that's all Mark Strong does, unfortunately.
Yeah. What an odd career Vin Diesel has. He has the Fast and Furious franchise, which makes him literally billions of dollars every other year, and then in between them just goes, okay, what is the most batshit script that Hollywood has?
I think he's got really interesting instincts.
Witch hunting in modern New York with Michael Caine and Elijah Wood as side.
I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming it's an adaptation of something. It had a very comic booky feel to it. But then he did have 3 script writers, so maybe not. Maybe it's like an original thing.
I think it was literally Vin Diesel went, you know how in the Fast and Furious franchise, although I'm meant to be human, I'm basically immortal. Can we find a movie where I'm immortal?
What? So the best way to describe it...
So hang on a second.
Sorry.
Our big thing is...
Yes.
Do we recommend people to go see it before they listen to this, or does it matter?
Yeah, well, okay. In the case of this movie, I don't think it matters, but...
Well, there is one thing that matters that we'll probably spoil.
Yeah, true. Yeah, true.
Not that you don't see it coming a mile.
Well, actually, I saw the other thing. I was confused. I thought Thingamajig was going to be What's-Her-Face. That was going to be the thing.
You thought Thingamajig...
I thought Thingamajig was going to be
What's-Her-Face.
Yes, Big Bad What's-Her-Face.
Big Bad What's-Her-Face.
I thought red-headed Thingamajig was going to be Big Bad What's-Her-Face.
Oh, she was going to become the
one. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Not the Haitian blind dude.
Right, exactly.
Who's awesome.
in everything.
Yes.
And should have had much bigger part in this.
He should, but...
Like, he should have wandered around mumbling in Haitian about things.
Yeah, agreed.
Although I quite like that, like, a famous New York cupcake place was really, like, mixing maggots, magic maggots into them.
Yeah, that was cool. But yes, I think people should see it. Because I really enjoyed it. But with my declared bias to be interpreted as you will. I really like hugely over-ambitious, but ultimately they don't. I prefer things to be overly ambitious and they don't hit it,
Right.
than for things to be.
Well, I enjoyed this.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Right at the end, right at the end, I did yell out.
Go on,
and
Vin.
I said, "Go on, Vin."
Go on, Vin!
And I meant it. I
Get it
wasn't
done.
being
No.
sarcastic. I meant it. I wanted to go on, Vin. Go on, Vin, my son.
Weirdly enough, although I probably could pick the script apart, my problem was not.
God.
My problem was not with the script. I'll tell you
The
what.
script that I can only guess was basically a script to start with, and then they would have to cope. I don't know, but I would think when the crew got home
Yeah.
from a day's shooting of The Last Witch Hunter,
Yeah.
they would consider themselves lucky if they'd managed to restrict like Vin's ideas
Yeah.
to like 3 that
To
day.
3 a day.
So what
Yeah.
if I did
Yeah.
this? And they're like, yeah, all right, Vin, yeah, spin the sword, that's fine.
Sure.
There were so many bits of the film you go, yeah, that was Vin's idea, wasn't it? Vin was like, wouldn't it be cool if I did this?
But you see, I have to
most of
say,
the time you're going,
no,
yeah.
but I have to say, considering I am an enormous fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, and in particular the last 3 movies, which have gone absolutely like batshit insane. Right. In fact, the more madness that Vin Diesel flaps about the Fast and Furious franchise, the happier chap I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
The more they're like, well, how do we do this heist? I don't know. How about we jump 6 cars at the back of a plane? Sure, sounds reasonable to me.
Why not?
There's some very cool NYPD bike cops that are outside that are about to come inside. They've all
they're coming
parked
in,
their
the bike cops
bikes.
coming in.
They've all parked their bikes outside. All on the
actual
line.
motorbikes.
Yeah, proper motorbikes. No, not like pedal bikes.
Well, like you do get.
No, I know. Look at them, dude. Look at the jackets. It's cool. It's so cool. They've got like mad militaristic leather jackets on and stuff. They're like proper bike cops.
It's proper.
That's insane. Anyway,
Sorry. Briefly distracted. Now we're back.
I feel a bit safer. Mainly just because I'm white. So, sorry, bad joke. But anyway, yeah, definitely go see it. At this point, because this was like the last day it's on major release. So, at this point, wait for Netflix or DVD. But definitely see it. It is bonkers good fun. So, as I was saying, because I'm a fan of the more like madness that Vin Diesel can fly around, I say give him a mad fantasy action script and just give him free reign to do whatever
Agreed,
bonkers
absolutely.
ideas comes
Yeah.
up. Because his ideas will be, I'm a modern day witch hunter with a fast sports car in New York with Michael Caine as my sidekick.
I think I could be wrong, but my reading of the script as it stands is that it was a good script floating around. Because
It was an okay
no,
script.
no. Because here's the weird thing. Okay, one or two things happened. Either it was an okay script that Vin brought in somebody to tot up with some really good lines,
Right.
or it was a really good script that was that they
Vin Dieselized.
exposition. So because all the big exposition points were ridiculous, and they even had like a voiceover that was like totally. I mean, let's just have Michael Caine tell everybody what's going on right now.
Yeah.
For no reason. They didn't have like, oh no, we're not. Oh, sorry, we're still.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? What are you having?
I'm having the buffalo burger.
Okay.
He's still looking over.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry, give us 2 minutes, Chief, and then we're all good.
Maybe I'll get the Greeks of laughter. I've never had that before. What's that?
I don't know. It's like little bits of chicken in it, covered in tzatziki.
Served with French fries and Greek salad. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna get that.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, because they were really, really good. Like, what was the line about? Like something like "Fear is dead to us now." Or something. It was just when they were going into the tree at the beginning, and some guy goes, "Fear is dead to us." Now. No, but that's good.
No, that is good. But there was also a bit during that monologue that he had that was meant to be all like medieval sounding. It really wasn't.
But that's what I'm saying.
The fear is dead to us was good, but there was also a line, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was like, now is the time where the things that are bad are bad. Like there was basically a line that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Said,
there was a weird, and there was the thing that the script itself had written by bloke, and
what was his name? Burke.
No, but he was the second one because.
He was the third one.
Because I learned this from Bench. When it says "and," it means they didn't write the script together. When it's an ampersand, it means they did write the script together. So this one was bloke and bloke ampersand bloke. So either it was a script written by two guys that then they brought in somebody to tart up, or my suspicion is that by the first guy and then the two others tarted it up. Now either the people who tarted up added the good lines and did what they could with the rest, but I think it was probably a good script. Because I think for Vin Diesel to pick up a script, right, and go, yes, I want to be
I'm an immortal witch hunter.
I'm an immortal witch hunter. It would have to be a pretty good script, and then because he's Vin, I think it was expositioned a bit, and there were bits that didn't quite make sense. I don't know. I'm just saying. Why?
I know. Anyway, look.
But my point is simply this: that for whatever reason, some of the lines were incongruously good, given the nature of some of the other lines. There were some good jokes in there.
There is. I tell you what, there is. There is something about the very staid and stoic nature of Diesel and Kane, right? That in their hands, utterly bonkers, either exposition and or just general words, you kind of accept. There was a whole bit at the end where he was talking to the redheaded witch Dreamwalker that they were hanging out with.
Should we explain the plot, by the way?
Wait a minute.
Sorry.
Where he had a bit of exposition, and I was going with it, and I was like, yeah, no, the witch's heart, and okay, so that's the.
Hey, yes, thank you very much. Sorry. Can I get the Greeks of luck?
Yeah, can I get the bison burger? Can I get that with bacon and Swiss? I'll get it deluxe with just regular fries. But can I get a side of brown gravy for the fries?
Bacon and Swiss cheese.
Bacon and Swiss on top of the bison burger.
I guess you're lucky, right?
Yeah,
Anything to drink? What is good?
Yeah, can I get a chamomile tea?
Chamomile tea?
I'm good with water, thanks. So it's like, the witch's heart and the plague tree and blah, 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 blah. And when he finished and then they went off to an action bit, I went, I just watched Vin Diesel talk about a witch's heart and a plague tree perfectly seriously. And not only that, but I went with it.
Yeah.
Madness. So, okay. So you can run with the plot. It's absolutely fine if you want to.
Okay, all right. I'm going to give this a go.
Okay.
All right, so.
This could be fun. All
right. So the best way to explain it is they treat it, one of the reasons I thought it might be adapted from a comic book is they treat it a lot like a comic book, i.e. this is a parallel universe, the end. They don't talk about it as if this is something that's just been discovered, or they don't even have a character who's like, oh wait, you mean the world has always worked like this, kind of a thing, you know what I mean? There's always been these things in the shadows. They just there's an acceptance.
No, there is, but let me explain why. Because in the movie, we only ever see it from the point of view of people who know.
No, of course.
So what I mean is, there isn't one single character in the movie that is us, right? Kane knows, Elijah Wood knows, the redheaded witch knows, all the bad.
But that's what's interesting about that beginning.
What I mean is, there's no hi, I'm Jeff, the wacky human sidekick who doesn't know that there are witches.
You know what? Can we let's just give the movie kudos right there for dispensing with the wacky human sidekick.
Do you know what I mean, though?
Yeah, no, I know, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
There wasn't what do you mean there are witches?
But that's what I'm saying. What was cool about the exposition was it was just there's this world. Yeah, yes, for me. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
See, because I don't think it's an alternate reality. I think Well, I don't think it's an alternate dimension or anything. I think that it's meant to be our world, but because there are no, like, essentially unknowing humans in it, we don't know whether we're aware of it or not. So, for example, all the people in the cake shop who are eating the cakes, they don't know that there are witches or
good point. Okay.
Vin Diesel running around or anything like that. Like, maybe his myth has spread to, like, a few humans, but...
Okay, I take your point. Yeah, you're right.
Because Cain is part of, like, a shadowy cabal of, like, ancient priests.
Well, yeah, let me get to... So let me do the plot then.
Okay.
Let me do the plot.
Sure.
So you're right about that. That's a good point. Okay, so it does...
It takes place in our world. It is New York.
Long ago, in medieval times, country TBD, England, I'm guessing.
Well, they all had English voices, and in fact, they dubbed Vin Diesel with like a really bad English voice.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So long ago, there was the plague. Probably, I'm thinking the Black Death.
Yeah.
Rather than the plague, the Black Death, and.
But the Black Death was brought about by witches.
Right. So there's a big, powerful witch queen who, along with all her witchy, thank you very much, all her witchy, for my salad, with all her witchy sidekicks.
Or is it a witch's brew of cynicism and madness that's going to like infest your brain? And
It's too late for you, son.
yeah, that's right. I don't know why I said cynicism. I meant like sinister, but never mind.
Sinister cynicism.
Yeah. It's the name of my next album.
Yeah, maybe your next band. Please welcome Sinister Cynicism. Boo, 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 what's the point?
No.
Ooh, what's the point?
They're like
I'm trying to think, how would you do Sinister? Ooh, what's the point?
It's an expressionist jazz trio.
I quite like that as Sinister Cynicism. Ooh, what's the point?
Ooh, what's the point?
Behind you. What's the point? Anyway. Okay.
So,
long time ago, big bad witch queen and all her
living
big bad
in a plague tree.
witchy witches. They living in a plague tree, cast a plague upon the world, and Vin and a priest and some other blokes go in there to kill her.
Because they've got nothing left to live for, because all their families have been taken by the plague. Which is also another thing he said in that monologue. He said, "We shall not go back because there is nothing to go back to."
Right, that's right. Okay. So anyway, Vin kills her. I'd like to point out at this point how he kills her. It's completely clear because it was a bit of a confusing.
Sword.
Yeah, well, I know that, but like he got out of a situation that wasn't clear how he got. But yes, he stabs her with a flaming sword. She dies, and he becomes immortal. He then spends...
Well, no, she makes him immortal by thrusting her hand into
She curses him with immortality because he's lost everyone and they're both going to die and he's fine with that. But she curses him with immortality so he's free to wander the earth.
Which is actually the biggest problem with the script.
Well, no, that's what was cool about it, is that she knew she was dying, so she pretends it's a curse, gives her the immortality, but actually it's something else.
Okay, just to warn everybody who is really looking forward to watching The Last Witch Hunter, I am about to spoil it massively on the show, so I'm very sorry about that, but spoilers coming up, if you cared. Spoilers.
No, I understand it's something else, but it's only something else because the evil cabal of sinister priests saved her heart. If they didn't, and they just killed her heart, it wouldn't have been a thing.
You just gave away the big thing. You need to put a spoiler before that. That was a big spoiler.
Okay.
That was a big spoiler.
That was a big spoiler.
So you need to put your big spoiler music
Your big spoiler before
that.
Now
Now the spoiler's done.
Right.
Anyway, Witch Queen,
what I'm saying
plague
is the
on the
script
world.
is full of...
Hang on.
All right.
Let's get through it first, because it's going to take a while. Witch Queen casts plague upon the world, is killed by Vin with a flaming sword. She curses him with immortality. Cut to present day. He's still wandering about, and his job is to, reasonably enough, there are all witches everywhere. Most of them are all right, as long as they don't use the magic to harm humans, we're fine, no problem. But some of them,
there is a code. There is a fragile alliance between humans and witches.
But of course, some of them want to, make up covens and destroy the world because, kids. And Vin will go around and destroy these covens, and they'll be armed with powerful magic and all the rest of it. And he's been doing this for centuries, casting them down into a prison. And
ruled over by like 4 people with mad hair.
Right, exactly. Anyway, Michael Caine is his like handler, and on the very
A priest who is a member
priest.
of a shadowy cabal of priests.
who's a member of the religious order.
What is it? The sword and the axe and the cross?
Axe and cross, yeah, the axe,
The
and
axe and
cross. And on his last day, he dies.
Well, he's retiring as his hand.
But that was another very, very cool line. I've lived a long time, and I've seen a lot of people grow old, retire, and die, but
not all
never in
on
the
the
same
same
day, which is really, really, that's a great line. And he becomes suspicious, finds out Kane's been murdered, and so it's set into a chain of events comes about where Vin...
And his new handler is Elijah Wood, something that was never announced.
Yeah, they were like, oh, it's Elijah Wood. Vin and Elijah discover that the bad warlocks and witches want to bring the Witch Queen back.
Yeah.
And so they fight to prevent that, with the help of a red-headed witch whose people will know from Game of Thrones as the red-headed bird that goes, Jon Snow, all the time. Jon Snow!
She's a really bad actress.
Yeah, but you haven't heard anything because you've heard her attempt at Lancaster. Jon Snow!
Oh, okay. But she's kind of like your typical... If this was made in 1987, it would be played by Winona Ryder.
In 87? Like maybe 97.
When was Beetlejuice?
Early 90s, I thought.
No.
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Before Batman? Post-Batman? Beetlejuice?
Before Batman.
After Batman?
It's before Batman. It's like
after
3 or 4
Batman.
years before Batman.
Is it?
Beetlejuice is like 87 or something.
Well, Batman's 89.
I'm telling you, it's before Batman.
All right. Anyway, Beetlejuice arguments aside, I don't think it would be played by... It would be played by exactly who it's played by, some up-and-coming TV actress is who it would be played by, and that's who they got. You'd be like, oh, it's that bird from... I don't know.
I just meant
Baywatch.
like slightly drippy goth bird is what I meant.
Yeah, she's a slightly drippy goth bird. And together they go after the Witch Queen, and that's basically the plot.
Right. And one of the big things that Vin Diesel is trying to say on his side, because there is all this rumour about Vin Diesel just being like a hard-nosed witch killer bastard.
Right.
But the truth of the matter is over the 800 years that he's been alive, he's developed clemency, and he actually like incarcerates people rather than kills them.
Right.
Although there's no indication that those incarcerated ever get out, so I don't really understand the difference between being incarcerated and being
Yeah, and it
dead.
wasn't exactly like cages. They were...
Well, they were frozen in like ice or time. It was all very vague. It was all very, very, very.
It was all very vague. It was. It was. I mean, it was. Look. Let's not beat around the bush here. It was tosh.
Oh
from
yeah,
start to
it was
finish.
absolute tosh.
It was, but
And
it was
if I was-
extremely enthusiastic tosh, and
Yeah.
everybody was having a lot of fun.
There was some bits. There was a lot of bits where it was like rev up, stop, fade over, shot of the city. Rev up, stop.
Yeah, but at least there was that. At least it wasn't like.
And it had what
At least
felt
it-
like a billion endings. Like the biggest. Okay, the biggest problem, right? Scripting wise.
Okay.
No. Actually, no. I'm going to lay the blame
Squarely?
No, very squarely.
Very squarely.
At the feet of Breck Eisner, and I will explain why.
You far away. Who is Breck Eisner?
He's
by
the
way?
director.
No, I know he's the director, but do I know
Dunno.
anything?
I mean, I recognise the name, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
It's
Here's your souvlaki. Here's my burger.
It's unfortunate when your name rhymes with dread. Oh, that looks lovely. Thank you very much.
Side of brown gravy. Thank you.
Wow, this looks terrific.
So, yeah, we had good food there last time, I seem to remember. And I'll tell you for why. First of all, pacing, right? So initially, the thing that is meant to be driving the plot, or the thing that is meant to be driving the tension, is the fact that Kane, while we suspect is dead, is actually cursed.
Uh-huh.
And if Vin Diesel can kill the witch who cursed him in time...
They did cross over that a bit.
Hang on a second. If they can kill him in time...
I was agreeing with it.
Right. Then Kane will come back to life. Right? Which is something that we should have been invested in. That should have been like the tension
Yeah, that's
thing,
true.
right?
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, that wasn't driven home enough, so there wasn't like a ticking clock thing, so the pacing was kind of all over the place. And even though he was trying to like desperately find this person, he didn't really kind of... There was none of him like trying to find the person, and there was just a lot of him sort of standing around and talking and sort of philosophizing. And I was like, but if you were really concerned, like the movie would have been served better if it was like if we don't get this done by like midnight of the third day or whatever, Kane is dead to us forever, right? So that was wasted. And in fact, then once that ticking clock was done with, the next ticking clock, which was, you know, basically Armageddon, let's say, brought about by the Witch Queen, that was also kind of squandered. Like, there was no kind of real ticking clock at any point, even though they'd set up 2 lots of ticking clocks within this one movie. And both times the pacing didn't serve that. And that's what I mean by the, like, oh, there's going to be a scene, there's going to be an action scene, there's going to be an action scene. Nope, stop, fade over New York. More talking of Vin Diesel wandering around.
Well, the problem was, wasn't it, that they decided to focus rather on him finding the guy and saving the...
Thank you, sir.
Rather than focusing on him finding the guy, and therefore... Because what you're talking about, the making that the ticking clock of Kane,
right,
would be him trying to find him, which would have been perfectly acceptable. He could have gone to weird magical places, he could have busted up bars, he could have gone into fights with people.
Right.
Like, it could have happened, it could have gone down that way. But instead, they went down the route of, oh, they're trying to stop me remembering how I died. So he went to like 3 or 4 different places to try and get a memory spell or whatever.
That's what I mean. There was like that was then another fucking side road we went down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And where why I think I'm not sure about your whole thing, whether there was a good script and someone came in and messed it up, or whether there was... I'm more inclined, honestly, to believe that there were 2 scripts that were then kind of jammed together, or that there were a bunch of ideas that they like threw into a basket and then just wrote.
Well, that's possible. Like, I know that quite often, one thing I've learned is that quite often when you bring in someone to do a rewrite, they will totally rewrite the whole thing, and you end up with 2 almost different movies. And it's possible. Yeah, this is really good. It is possible to, I guess, jam those 2 things together. So you may well have something there. I agree with you that the decision to go for... I'll tell you what my theory is.
It was like they couldn't pick a focus.
And I think the problem is...
I just said focus with a mouthful of burger.
It's fine. It feels
So
like
I mean-
worse things with a mouthful of burger.
No, but I'm saying, just so people heard it, they couldn't pick a focus.
Right. And I agree with you. And I think there's a reason why. I think the problem here is that... And I think one of the reasons why it didn't do quite so well, the inherent problem you've got with Vin Diesel as the last witch hunter is, do we really want to see a film where Vin Diesel spends 2 hours beating the crap out of women?
Well, they weren't all women.
No, but that's exactly my point. They got around that by having him be like, oh, he's a warlock. Fine.
A big beardy one.
But then, the reason they didn't like have him chasing that guy and have it all be about what I remember and stuff is they were trying to always connect it back to the Queen, because she's like a crazy, she's a proper monster. Yeah, she's a woman, but she's a CGI monster woman. It's not, you're not gonna have any problem with Vin like beating the crap out of her. She's the monster. So they kept trying to tie it to that, because I think if he'd been chasing fat Finnish bloke around the movie the whole time, and I think this is a conversation they would have had. It's like, well, then he's not hunting any witches here. It's a bloke. There's no getting around that. I'm warlock hunting, and I know that, who gives a shit? But I think it becomes a thing of the audience's mind. It's like, well, why? If he's a witch hunter, what's he doing? Find a bloke. But every time he was beating the crap out of the woman, I was thinking, it's a good job this is a CGI monster, because if this was just like a witch and Vin's like beating the crap out of her, that's not going to play so well.
Is that why they then had that whole conversation about Salem and, I'm not the evil monster you think I am, I'm actually been...
Yeah, we better make him sympathetic, yeah. I think it's a big problem with the movie. It's a very look.
I didn't even think about that.
I really enjoyed the movie because it was really silly, and it did what it did with a lot of conviction. It built a whole world and stuck to it. And yeah, there were some some logical gaps and some leaps, but none that I was happy with them taking those leaps. They didn't ever made me think.
But it was one edit shy of being end of days fun. It was almost end of days fun, but it was like one edit shy of being end of days
Well,
fun.
I think the problem they had was they didn't have a. It's a good way of thinking about it. Actually, is comparing it with End of Days. One of the reasons End of Days is so much fun is Gabriel Byrne. And there's no Gabriel Byrne in this picture. Like having a fat Finnish guy outfoxing Vin with because I really like all the mad, crazy magic. Like, it's been ages since I've seen mad, crazy black magic take people out.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
There you go. The problem you've got, right, with people fighting each other with magic is sooner or later it boils down to people reading words out of a book, right? One of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of Constantine the comic is that sooner or later he's being flailed around by a serpent from hell or whatever, but he says a few words and then it's all over. So it's fucking dull. It's dull. But if you're doing this, Vin's I've got a sword, I'm going to hunt witches. Going, yeah, but impaling women for 2 hours is not really going to get you a lot of box office. So there's magic, but what's cool is he's indestructible. So any magic they use on him, that's why it's neat. Any magic they use on him is only ever buying them time to get away and complete their real plans. So I think the idea of him not remembering was more of a time-wasting tactic than anything else. And that could have worked if they had a bigger bad guy who could have said, ha ha ha, you fell for my trap or whatever. While you were chasing your memories, I was blah blah blah. And that could have been oh shit, Vin, whatever. That would have been fine. We tied it all together, he would have been fooled. But there was no whoever you were watching, you were thinking, well, we know it's all building up to the the Witch Queen, and we saw it at the beginning.
Right.
But there needed to be a Gabriel Byrne having a load of fun,
Right.
fucking with Vin Diesel with magic. That could have been at least the middle, the second act of the movie, and it would have been a really fun second act. Streets weren't destroyed in New York, there could have been a thing with Vin dealing with mad magic in subway stations, or I don't know, something.
Yeah. And by the way, while I take your point about the whole woman thing, it wouldn't have bothered me. We meet.
You heard it first. John Cross not bothered by women being punched.
That's not what I was about to say. I said it wouldn't have bothered me had it all been male attackers.
Absolutely.
Because from the very early on, in fact, almost there's only one witch we meet in the whole movie, and that's we meet the other one who's like a fashionista.
But that was
running
neat. I like
some-
that. I
Yeah.
like all the women in the mirrors with hideous hag witch faces, but they're all beautiful models. That was a neat touch. The problem is, there's only two ways to do it. They're either all men, in which case he's the last warlock hunter,
Right.
and that's totally cool, but it doesn't have the same zing.
But they were mostly.
Or Vin has to be a bird. That's the only way it works.
That would have been quite a good movie.
You either retitle it and you have him going after, but warlocks don't have the same cultural thing,
Right.
And that's why they didn't. But they could have done. They could
For
have
me,
brought something.
when I think about it, the Irish guy,
I'm telling you about it. These conversations were had about this movie.
but the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
The Irish guy, Haitian guy, big bearded guy,
Yeah.
the only women he went up against were the fashion ones with the spell that makes them all look pretty.
And all he did was beat up the bodyguards and then what's the face to her.
Right. And
Yeah,
he
which
didn't
is
even,
fine,
He
but then-
didn't even break their spell. That was down to the red-headed one who decided, well, witches can go against witches.
Right, but then your problem is, sooner or later people are going to think, well, when's he going to hunt some witches? He doesn't hunt any witches.
Yeah, I don't think anyone was thinking that, but okay.
No, I'm just saying, if you're watching a film called The Last Witch Hunter, and all he does is beat up blokes, and then at the end destroys a bloke, you're thinking, where were the witches? Or the delicate balancing act, and I understand why they did it, but also, like, Witch Hunter is not, in in film anyway. The only Witch Hunter I can think of is the Witchfinder General, right? Who's a bad guy. Like,
Right.
he's a bad guy. The only literary and cinematic predecessor you have as the Last Witch Hunter is a bad guy,
Right.
and witches are normally good. So you're asking a lot of people to change all that around, and it was really, really fun, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. And I've got no doubt that whatever witches Vin hunted deserved it. Deserved a good whatever swording or whatever it was they got, but
They got locked up.
right. And it was totally cool, but that's why I think the pacing problem happened. In the first pacing problem. The second pacing problem in the Apocalypse, I agree, but then you see, the problem is, they make him mortal, which is initially very cool, but then means when he's going up against the Witch Queen, because then you're like, fuck, he's going up against the Witch Queen and he's mortal. And it's kind of like that bit in End of Days where Arnie gets tooled up to the max and it makes no difference. Problem is, if you're mortal and you're going up against an immortal, then they're just going to kill you. So they had to find ways of Vin doing impressive things and defeating things and getting close to his purpose without ever actually coming face to face with the Queen, who would presumably just destroy him with a thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but in the end, all he did was, throw his sword into it.
Yeah, worked really well, but they needed to reference the lightning. Like, it was a really good idea. Start the storm, get the lightning, there's your sword, there's your fire. Brilliant. But we didn't have him looking up at lightning or something was like,
No, he did.
lightning.
He said the words.
What do you say?
As he picked the sword up and threw it, he said the words like, my steel be a flame or something like that as he threw it.
No, he said iron and fire or whatever. No, but his idea is the lightning's going to hit the sword.
Yeah.
But he just did it. There was no if you've got a character...
But that's
once
Eisner's
immortal-
fault again. That's Eisner's fault again.
Yeah, agree. No, I agree with you. I think you're right about
Like,
about
the
direction.
pacing is his fault.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of the stuff that doesn't quite tie together is his fault. And ultimately, and the other thing that really pissed me off is that the action sequences were really badly directed.
Yeah, they were. They were very confusing. That's what I was talking about when he was taking on the witch at the beginning. Like all the roots come and start dragging down to the ground, and then he does something, and all the roots explode. You're like, well, what did he do? I don't understand, because it's like key to how he defeats the witch.
Right, but it was the same at the end where he gets covered in flies, and all of a sudden he's not covered in flies.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Although,
I think the biggest problem is whereas in End of Days, right?
right.
Part of the charm of that is that Arnie is a washed up, bestubbled, God-cursing drunk, right? Who ultimately, in the end, although redeems himself, also dies, right?
I forgot he died.
Yeah. He throws himself. The devil jumps inside him, and he's fighting the devil inside him, and then he throws himself on the magic sword of goodness, and then everyone.
Is it a magic sword of goodness?
I think that's exactly what it is.
It's been a long time since I saw it.
So what I'm saying is,
Yeah, sorry.
the only time I have an issue with Vin Diesel's ego, in the case of these movies, is that he won't allow himself to be vulnerable or to die.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? In a film.
Right.
The worst bit of scripting was when he goes to finally stab the Queen in the heart at the end of the movie,
Right.
which may also end him,
Right.
right? And he doesn't do it because the woman goes, I saw something in the darkness. Yeah? Hang around in case this gets a sequel. And Vin was like, alright then. Even though, if he died at the end of the first movie, all the sequel needs to do is have a bit at the beginning where the witch is like, I've travelled many lands to find the potion we need to bring him back. And poof, they bring him back.
You're right. They can literally have him like John always says sometimes about writing. that some of his solutions may as well be magic. Do you know what I mean? Like for all
Right.
but like, well, my character's in a tricky situation and I've got to make something up to get him out of it. So I mean, it may as well, it may as well be magic that gets my characters out of
Well,
trouble.
look at what happens in the middle of the movie, where we find out that she's a dream walker, and that pulls him out of the trance that he's in with the other witches. And then at the end of the movie, he goes, "Oh no, don't come with me, otherwise I can't keep you safe." But then when she does go with him anyway, because she's like hot-headed, stubborn, strong-willed woman, right?
Yeah.
They get to the place, and he's like, "Good, we need you to go inside this guy," and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, then why not take her? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, there was a whole bunch of stuff where it felt like... It felt like there was this script where they kept coming up against walls, and the two people... This is what happened. There was a script, right? Everyone read it and went, yeah, but there's this problem, this problem, this problem, and this problem. So then they bring in Burke and Hare, or whoever it was, to rewrite it, right? And Burke goes, it's quite simple. This first problem, what we do is we invent this thing. Boom, done. Jobs are good, and they no doubt throw some, cash down on the table.
Right.
By the end, they're like, okay, so how do we stop the plague tree? Oh yeah, she's a dream walker. We established that earlier to get out of yet another incongruous corner that we dug ourselves into. So how about we just use that again to... Brilliant. Here's another big wad of cash. That's what happened.
See, I have in my head a vision of the metaphor, I think, for the movie is I see Vin Diesel running through a cave, going, come on, I'm gonna smash this cave with my hand, and behind him the writers are running behind him trying to keep up with whatever mad thing Vin Diesel wants to do next, going, fuck, he wants to punch that thing in the head and it's going to explode. All right, it was utter nonsense from start to finish.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoyed it.
Vin Diesel is a surprisingly good actor
Yeah,
with this,
he really is.
with this kind of crap.
He's very, very watchable.
He really was.
He's got an incredibly...
Although every time you saw his old medieval self with
that's
the
really funny.
beard and the hair, that was hilarious.
That was funny.
But then it's always hilarious that no matter how good the wigs are, when you put a wig on either Statham or Vin Diesel or The Rock or anyone, they just look stupid.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how good the hairpiece is or how good the beard
He's
is.
very watchable. He's obviously having a load of fun. Acting with Michael Caine. Building his own little fantasy world. He's obviously enjoying the hell out of it.
And they're also, to be fair, he made a franchise out of Pitch Black. He made a franchise that's fantastic out of the Fast and Furious franchise, another thing that people thought couldn't really be done.
Right.
Beyond the first few. Because if you watch the first three of that franchise, you're just like, my God, they have no idea what they're doing. Desperately clutching at straws to keep the thing alive. And then come the fourth one through to the seventh one, it's just a completely different thing.
Well, given the balminess that's on show, and how much I really believe of that is down to Vin Diesel, because I think he is
Certainly
a guy.
by the time you get to the sixth and seventh Fast and Furious.
I know, because I know that Spielberg said about Vin Diesel in Saving Private Ryan. But Vin Diesel was he's got a tiny part in Saving Private Ryan. Vin Diesel was walking up to Spielberg, telling him his ideas, what he thought Spielberg ought to do with that shot. That takes balls to walk up to Spielberg in a film you've got a tiny part in and tell him what you think ought to be happening. And I think he does that. If he did that with Spielberg in his first film, then fuck knows what he does when he's the star. And I think the producer. I think everything about this film is people trying to keep up with whatever cool thing Vin wanted to do next. And because he's having a load of fun, and it's all obviously nonsense right from the very beginning, I loved it.
Yeah.
It's not as good as End of Days. That's true. End of Days is a better film. But then, as you point out, Peter Hyams is a better director, a much better director. Peter Hyams knows how to make ridiculous films work, how to pace them, how to make them believable, how to get people to care. Whereas this one was a bit more flashy. And I've got no problem with like flashy CGI, because if you're going to use CGI, then you might as well enjoy it. And they definitely enjoyed it. And I liked all the crazy magic shit.
Hello, and as usual, I'm just interrupting the podcast to ask everyone that if you are enjoying the show and you wish to support us, you can go over to patreon.com/aftermoviediner. That's patreon.com/aftermoviediner. It really is the very best way to support us if you want to show your appreciation. Otherwise, just go to iTunes, Spreaker, Stitcher, wherever you listen to the show, and rate and review us. That is always so very helpful for us to get the message out. And if you don't want to do that, how about you're walking past someone on the street and you just say, hey, have you heard of the After Movie Diner podcast? Do that. Just do that. Do that with colleagues, friends, work people at the barbershop, wherever you are. Just do that if you can't be bothered to rate and review us or support us on Patreon. Anything like that helps. It's awesome. But enough about this show for the moment. I'd also like you to go and listen to the Hold the Mayo podcast hosted by Jay Mayo. Really is one of the greatest interview podcasts out there. If you're not listening, he has had some fantastic guests on and has done some fantastic conversations with some great people. So please do check out the Hold the Mayo podcast and all the podcasts over at www.corruptaudio.com. He's building a great network over there, is Jay Mayo, the true New England local legend. So do check out corruptaudio.com. And I couldn't mention Jay Mayo or local legends without mentioning marvelous Matt Farley and his tremendous podcast, the Moten Media Infomercial Podcast, over at motenmedia.com, which is MOTERN media.com. Why not check out those two podcasts this week and make it part of your regular podcast subscriptions? That's fantastic. Thanks ever so much, as always, for listening. Support us, support those shows, and keep podcasting alive. Thanks ever so much, and now back to the diner.
Yeah, except, like, there was another bit, like, at the end, when he threw open his vast chest of weapons or whatever, like, why didn't he tool up, you know what I mean, with more than just the sword? And, like, why didn't his car, like, have a bunch of, like, witch-killing gadgets or something? Like,
all these things crossed their mind.
there was so much potential there to do. Like, why did he have a fast car? Like, why? I mean, other than it's Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel wanted to drive, because Vin Diesel wanted to drive an Aston Martin. Then at some point in the shoot, he went, you know what, I think my character will drive an Aston Martin. They went, all right, that's the least balmy suggestion you've had today. Let's say yes to that one.
No, I think that's probably down to the fact that if you'd lived 800 years, you would have some money.
No. Don't get me wrong. I'm telling you right now that was one of his ideas, and they said yes to it because it was one of the least balmy things.
Yeah. A bit like, why don't I have an ancient samurai suit in my $1 billion apartment?
I'm telling you, at some point in the shooting, Vin Diesel turned to like the director, and they were like halfway through the shoot. He goes, you know what? Wouldn't it be cool if we didn't have it in New York? What if we set it in Boston? And he was like, we're halfway through the shoot. Like, that happened. You know what I mean? Like, then he would like
New Orleans.
Just move on, New Orleans. And then he would go, oh, and then like something shiny would catch like, would he be off that? And then they would never say anything about it again. But it would be constantly, all day, fielding Vin's ideas. And which ones you go with and which ones you kind of try and make him forget about by distracting him with bagels or something, or cupcakes.
I don't imagine he eats either of those things. I imagine he, like, chews on a root or something, or eats.
I think he's a great actor. He's so watchable because he doesn't take himself super seriously, like with the projects that he chooses. He understands that cinema is about spectacle, and people go there to have fun and escape and enjoy themselves, and that's what he's doing there. Like, Riddick could have been good. It wasn't his fault that whoever made it got insecure.
But again, he's got like Dench in that movie, hasn't he?
No, that's Chronicles of Riddick.
All right, but I'm saying like.
There's 3 movies. Pitch Black.
No, but I'm saying like Dench, Kane.
Yeah, but,
like he's picking like these really bonkers.
Yeah, but you know what was great? This is another reason why Vin Diesel is fucking cool. Vin Diesel demanded that Judi Dench be paid a fortune. She's only in the film for hardly anything at all, and obviously it's like totally believe that she's going to catch. But they were going to pay her, like what women get paid, even if that. And he went, whatever Michael Caine got paid for this is what Dench got paid. He went to bat for her. He burst into the studio and demanded that she be paid like $6 million or something fucking ridiculous. Because she's Judi Dench and she should get proper pay. We shouldn't be like underpaying her. What are you talking about? And he
Is
did
that how do you know
That's
that?
true. It's because it's a story about Chronicles of Riddick. Probably one put about by Vin, but true nonetheless. And that's what he's doing.
That's why I sincerely hope Helen Mirren crops up in Fast and Furious 8
Yeah, that'd be fine.
as Statham's mum.
Yes.
Well, that's what the rumour is. And Helen Mirren has actually gone on record and said, like, I've always wanted to be in a Fast and Furious movie.
She's fucking cool as well.
She is fucking cool. Well, because she was in Red and Red 2, and I
Which
think
were great.
Red 1 was great. Red 2 is okay.
Can't remember. Red 2 was pretty good. I quite like Red 2.
Red 1, Bruce Willis is actually acting. Red 2, Bruce Willis is sleepwalking through it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Red 2 is made by Malkovich, Mirren, and Cox.
Yeah, you can't be a bit Cox.
Cox and Mirren in the first one, they were absolutely charming.
Stuff like read in that book. I love Brian Cox. Anyway, but yeah, like, he just wants to make films that people are going to go to the cinema and enjoy. I was surprised by how many people were there. I assumed
Yeah,
it
it
would
was
be
the
dead.
last screening.
I assumed it would be dead. I'd heard that it was, it flopped out and hadn't been done. But I don't think it cost that much. I can't see that costing that much money.
Well, like you say,
10, 15 million maybe?
no, more than that, dude. Seriously,
Really?
just for the salaries involved alone, it's probably
Well, who are
about
the salaries? I mean, Kane and Diesel.
it's probably
fair
about
enough.
a $60 million movie at least. At least. You've got to be aware, right, that as long as Finn is saying, I'll make another Fast and Furious movie, like, make no mistake, Fast and Furious 7 made like $1 billion in 3 days or something ridiculous. It made a lot of money for a lot of people.
Right.
So if Universal or whoever produced this have to give him 60, 70, 80 mil to do this, it's nothing, because he said he'll do part 8 of Fast and Furious. So they already know, like, oh great, so in a couple of years' time we've got another 1.5 billion to drop coming in. So the fact that they occasionally have to give him a vanity project in which he plays a witch hunter, which by the way will make its money back on DVD in a heartbeat. They'll do a couple of.
It'll be streaming. They'll sell it to. They'll sell it to streaming. They'll sell it to streaming in different countries.
But it'll make money overseas immediately.
Yeah, listen, it'll make money. I'll tell you something else as well. It stuck around for 2 weeks, so yeah, maybe it didn't make a ton of money. But
Stuck away for 3 or 4 weeks because I was away in England for 2, and it came out before I went.
That's right. So there you go. So right there, it's making something. Because no way they keep. And we've seen these movies.
And it was the
No way
very
they
last
keep
night
movies.
tonight. It was the very last night tonight, and
What, 20, 30 people in the cinema?
yeah,
I would say we had to move. They did shut up.
yeah.
So it must have made something, and then it'll make. I was like, and the other thing is like these days, yeah, okay, there's no DVDs anymore, but what there are is streaming services, with different rights in different countries. So you sell it to Amazon in England and Netflix in America, and Hulu in France and whatever. So you strike different deals with
what it
different
won't
territories.
do is it won't make a massive profit.
No.
Like, I will be very surprised if there's a sequel to this, unless it's in his contract that I will do Fast 8 if I get to do a sequel to
Yeah,
Witch
I
Hunter.
don't think you will, because I don't think he's a sucker for punishment. But on the other hand, the other thing is, they'll also be thinking Universal. Vin can clearly carry a movie. Like, he's opening Fast and Furious. I know it's like the idea, but it's still hanging
No,
off him.
what? He's the brains behind Fast and Furious, but that franchise is successful because of its ensemble cast, because of its worldwide appeal,
Oh no, I know that.
and because they're now doing the Expendables thing of keep adding new people.
But my point is, as far as Universal is concerned, they'll be looking at it thinking, maybe Vin can carry a movie. Maybe he can. And The Last Witch Hunter is, as you say, like it could be YA, You know, it could be like young adult-y kind of a thing. Could be a
Well, that's why they made it
franchise.
PG-13. They made it PG-13 to try and get as many people in the cinema as possible.
Right. And
'Cause
maybe
they're
it becomes a
thinking-
franchise. And all anybody's looking for these days is a franchise, right? They're all looking for their
Yeah,
franchise.
but none of the magic ones have done very well, have they? Because
No,
there was
they haven't.
there was that other one. What was that other one about the drippy teenager walking around and going like, she was a something hunter or a whatever, something and bones,
Oh. but that was
cross
about-
and bones, or
They do, but the problem is that those films are made because the books did very well.
right.
But the problem is,
I don't think this had a book.
no, this one wouldn't have done. But what they'll have thought is, Vin is obviously some of the brains behind Fast and Furious, and they think, well, he's got instincts, obviously, because this thing is huge, but we've got no idea why. And he's obviously not shy of sharing his ideas. And we can't make this work. We know that people are out there who want this stuff because they buy the books by the bucket load, but we can't make the movies work for some reason. Probably because they don't have any crossover appeal. They only appeal to the people who bought the books. That's not a big enough audience. But what if Vin can take that audience and using whatever this magic brain is that he's got that turned a, we rob banks and cars into like a global billion-dollar enterprise. Maybe he's the guy that can drag it into some kind of crossover appeal. It's only going to cost us, as you say, 50 or 60 mil, which we definitely make back on the, streaming and abroad alone.
This coming with
So it's worth a go. We'll get Michael Caine on board to give it a bit of cred, They'll have considered it a worthwhile investment because at the very least, the upside is we make our money back and we keep Vin happy. Right? At the very least, we show good faith in him. And the best case scenario is it takes off as a franchise, and we finally made a movie out of this like magic bollocks that they all seem to like love that is actually crossing over.
Yeah.
Because it's these days they're not just thinking about will it make a sequel? Will it make a sequel that we can then do a TV show? Based
No.
in that world, and
True.
can we have the-
But
can we have the-
but there
the
was
books
there
and the
was
comics
definitely
and
a bit where, in any other movie, he would have said, in a movie made 10 years ago, he would have said, "I've had enough of this life." Like the 800 years would weigh heavier on his shoulders.
Yeah, but
right.
as a curse, it totally backfired because he's obviously loving every minute.
Right, that's what
There's
I
a bit.
mean.
It was like, I'm telling you right now, the Shaggy the stewardess bit that was Vin's idea, and they're going, but Vin, you're supposed to be tortured.
Yeah.
Like that's the whole point. You've been cursed with immortality. You're supposed to be looking out of windows brooding, and he's like, I'm not going to look out of any windows brooding. I'm going to shag me some stewardesses. And you're going, fair enough. You can't argue with that.
But I quite like that he wasn't brooding.
Oh no, that's what I mean. I agree with you. Yeah, that's what's so brilliant about
But
it.
there should have been a bit at the end where he was like, actually, the 800 years have weighed heavy on me. I've had enough of stewardesses. Goodbye. Kill the witch. Kill himself. Right.
Right.
But either him, due to sheer ego, or the studio, hoping this would have some Fast and Furious magic to it, said, no, you can't have that. Write in a sequence whereby there's somehow a sequel. You know what I mean?
Well, there was that bit with Kane about you need to find somebody and blah blah. That was a shoehorned in.
No. That was put in to indicate that when you look back at it, when he knows that the heart still exists and da-da-da-da-da, and he was going to let Vin know, and therefore Vin was going to die and stuff, or at least become mortal,
Right.
that he'd better get round to start living, is what he's saying.
Right. Okay.
And instead, what Vin did was he was like, no, I'm going to stay immortal, but let's have like some sort of lesson that I've learned at the end of it.
Yeah. What was wicked is like she's going, you won't be alone. I'll be with you. Going, yeah, but he can't be with anybody because he's lived 800 years, and you're going to be old and weird in like 30.
Old and weird. The thing is if they brought out Witch Hunter 2, I'd totally go and see it.
Completely go and see it.
Completely go and see it.
Absolutely.
Also, because I would hope that Vin Diesel, within the first act, would kill the red-headed witch through some means.
I didn't mind her. She could have been a lot worse.
No, but only so that he could then have either another psychic and or another female to like have burgeoning sexual tension with.
I've just realised that's why.
Even though she's 21 and he's 52 or whatever he is.
No, he's 800.
No, but
I don't think Vin's 50, is
no,
it?
he's not. He's probably 40 something.
Now we know why Elijah Wood, by the way, had the crazy polo neck.
Yeah.
Because he's supposed to be
Evil.
evil Elijah.
I mean, there was literally a bit at the end of the movie where Vin Diesel could have turned around and gone, "Curse your inevitable betrayal."
What's that from?
I don't know.
Curse your sudden inevitable betrayal. I wish I could remember. Futurama? No.
No,
You wouldn't remember.
I don't know what it is. Anyway, I enjoyed it. Go see it.
I enjoyed the hell out of it.
End of
It's
discussion.
one of those.
I'm
It
tired now.
reminded me even a little bit of that mad Keanu Reeves one.
Constantine,
No, because Constantine's good.
Johnny Mnemonic.
No, that's bad. No, he plays like the last samurai, the 47 Ronin. That was the same kind of thing. Hugely ambitious, mad CGI effects, absolute petal from start to finish. But the only downside is, much like same with John Wick as well, if you stick Keanu Reeves in the middle of your film, you've got a problem. Like, you have a problem.
John Wick's awesome.
No, well, I think John Wick is only okay because Keanu Reeves is fucking dumb. And also, I don't buy even for a second that he's like an old... He's supposed to be like some old, retired, grudgy, Neeson throat puncher guy. It should be like Brian Cox or Terrence Stamp or somebody like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either Brian Cox or Terrence Stamp could...
At what point did Keanu Reeves have enough time to have this whole long career and then a whole long retirement and then be called out of it? Like, his career would have to be 2 weeks, and then he's been on holiday for another week, and he's got back.
No, he doesn't retire. He walks away because he falls in love.
I know. Anyway, all I'm saying is everything about John...
And by the way, Keanu Reeves is in his 50s.
Yeah, but anyway,
I know he doesn't look it, but he's in his 50s.
all I'm saying is, I thought John Wick was really good, except that Keanu Reeves is a huge black hole of charisma in the middle. And if you watch that film again and you imagine any other human being on planet Earth in that role, the film improves by 80%.
Except that Keanu Reeves can do all that. Look at the nightclub shootout that's basically done like The Raid, where the camera is in amongst the action and it's only him who can be doing it. You can't stuntman it.
Don't care.
No, but that's why John Wick got made, and that's why John Wick was successful, because it was one of the first Western films to use that raid-style kinetic action.
No, look, don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed the hell out of the movie. I did not like Keanu Reeves in it. And the same problem with 47 Ronin. You stick somebody with no charisma. It's the exact opposite. The reason why this film is good and 47 Ronin wasn't all that good is that Keanu Reeves is fucking
Nick Cage.
can't act.
Nick Cage could
There
have
you
been
go.
John Wick.
There you go. Nick Cage. Instead of Keanu Reeves and John Wick, and you got yourself a fucking movie. Anyway, but even though both of them were bonkers, lots of CGI, trying really hard, creating their own mythology, and in fact, the 47 Ronin, the story worked much better than the one in this one. It made more sense. But I don't give a shit about Keanu Reeves. But I could watch Vin Diesel pretty much do anything because he's just very, very watchable.
Yeah, I agree. Except about John Wick, which I really like. Yeah.
No, fair enough. And I know I'm in a minority about that one. I'm not saying it's not a good film. I just think it could have... I would have enjoyed it more if it had been anybody else other than Keanu Reeves. But that's it.
All right.
Tired off, son. He's giving me the tired off sign.
I'm getting tired.
Well, thank you very much for having me on.
That's pleasure.
I'm really glad we got to see The Last Witch Hunter, because as soon as we saw the trailer, we both thought we've got to see that.
Got to see that, so I'm really glad we saw it. All right, guys. Over and out.
This season can be mean to some, and that's the reason that when it comes, it's good to try and find someone like I have now found you. So this Christmas I know I won't be blue, because you're solving all my problems this Christmas. Anxiety and ADD be gone. Your love will cure my OCD as long as you remain with me, and we will work out
all my problems in a song. Because you have to solve all my problems, dear, this Christmas. Let my depression be a thing of the past. Because I have your sweet caress, will say goodbye to all my mental stress. This panic, manic mania can't last. Let me hear Santa's sleigh bells, and let me see bright lights. Let good mental health and stability be my goal. Let my mild schizophrenia go quietly into long and loving nights, and stick my bipolar up the old North Pole, because you're the answer to all my problems this Christmas. I don't mean to put the pressure all on you. You eradicate my crazed psychology by loving me unconditionally. I never knew that there could be someone who loved me more than me. I'm as mad as a box of sea anemones. Just ask all my split personalities. I'm sure I'll die if you ever leave, it's true. That's why from now on I'm spending every Christmas with you. You can't escape it. Please let me spend every Christmas with you. We'll talk about my mother issues. Yes, I'm spending every Christmas with you.